Some teachers just flawlessly comfort a crying child, place a Band-Aid on an injury, tell a student they are acting inappropriately, and talk to a parent simultaneously without missing a beat. It just comes from their joyful heart naturally. Furthermore, add in a desire to do what is best for the child, a vibrant personality, and a creative lesson, and it perfectly describes our nominee. This amazing person never looks flustered. With a few dozen children, you will see her dancing and singing to the educational videos right in the middle of her students. Her students adore her. Many of her students said, "She makes us feel loved. She never raises her voice. She provides such a peaceful classroom. Her students feel so loved, confident, and valued. She makes their self-worth a priority. In fact, she has been known to spend her own money buying clothes, shoes, or even Christmas shopping for her students. She will give the items to the parents to give to their children themselves, never taking credit. It's no wonder she is a favorite teacher of students and parents." One parent remarked, "She is one of the most selfless people that I know. She loves my children like her own." Furthermore, this huge-hearted lady is a rock star to the teachers in her building. She will go to school early for a sick coworker to ready their lesson plans at the drop of a hat. When her students walk the hallway, they walk with purpose. One will be carrying her walkie-talkie, one will have her lip gloss, and the rest will know her expectations of them are high and they respond with pride in themselves. Our principal knows she can be counted on for any task of the faculty. Whatever the challenge, she will take it on, bust it out seamlessly, and keep her sweet smile we all know her for. This deserving teacher is always putting students first. She puts her whole heart into making their school year the most positive, memorable learning experience ever. Creative, super organized, always prepared, energetic, cheerful, encouraging, a born teacher. These are just a few of the many adjectives colleagues have used to describe our nominee for DISD Elementary Teacher of the Year. Looking at her warm and inviting classroom, seeing her passion as she works with children, and observing her innovative lessons, you would think she had been teaching for decades. This nominee does not work or serve for awards or accolades, but simply to inspire and impact all that she comes in contact with each day. She has mastered the elusive art of being firm but fair, having rules yet maintaining relationships, and keenly remembering that though she teaches academics, she is truly teaching children, to whom she freely offers love, acceptance, and grace. Not only is she a teacher, but an avid lifelong learner. She continuously seeks advice and guidance from her principal, her curriculum coordinator, her teaching partners, and other staff members. Her goal is always to find better ways to help her students succeed. She has an innate ability to see what each child needs to succeed and make sure that he or she gets just that. If students are struggling academically and or socially, she researches different ideas and creates individualized activities based on their needs. Cooperation is a vital part of this teacher's personality. She is always willing to do her part to help others in any way possible. She is quick to volunteer, to tutor struggling students, and to constantly assist her team to achieve student success. She teaches her students to strive for excellence, to love learning, and to respect each other. And she encourages her teaching partners to give their best to all students, to wear a smile, to have faith, and to remember that the storms of life can often produce beautiful rainbows and new growth. What comes to mind when you hear the words red, white, and blue? Most people might visualize the American flag, a beautiful symbol of our country. Others, however, might picture our Teacher of the Year nominee, a beautiful example of a loving, understanding, and faithful educator. When you step into her patriotic-themed classroom, you experience a sense of pride, devotion, and attachment. These same emotions are felt by those fortunate to have the star-spangled teacher in their lives. This teacher is an expert at uplifting, encouraging, and bringing joy to the halls and classrooms at her campus. She views herself as a teacher, but to all the students and fellow co-workers she has impacted, she is a hero. It is obvious our nominee is passionate about her students and teaching. She is firm and has high expectations for her students, both academically and behaviorally. But she recognizes their different abilities and does what is needed to accommodate them in their needs. She continually demonstrates a growth mindset when challenges arise, and because of her powerful ability to connect with children, she turns these challenges into opportunities for success. This teacher is known on campus as a mentor and has several students stopping by her classroom every morning just to say hi or get a hug from her. It's apparent that she is great at building relationships with students, and it is very clear the students have a great amount of respect for her. This teacher has left a lasting impression on children and adults alike throughout her 15 years of education in Denison. She has devoted these years to the students she teaches, as well as her own two daughters who are prideful Denison Yellow Jackets themselves. This nominee truly exemplifies the qualities of a star-spangled teacher. Red is for her passion, desire, and heart full of love. White is for her humble, positive, and understanding presence. And blue is for her loyalty to others and her faith in everyone. This is why we believe she should be DISD's Elementary Teacher of the Year. Rita Pearson stated that every child deserves a champion, an adult who will never give up on them, who understands the power of connection and insists that they become the best that they can possibly be. I can't think of a truer statement to describe the relationship this teacher has with her students. This teacher spends countless hours conferencing one-on-one with students, revamping assignments to meet their individual needs, and holds her relationship with not only them, but with their families at the highest regard. This hasn't been an easy task at times, but she never gives up. She continuously advocates for her students to make sure that they get any accommodation or assistance needed to be the most successful learner possible. When you walk into this teacher's classroom, you are going to see 23 busy bodies at work, sometimes on several different tasks meeting their individual needs. You will see more group and partner work than pen and paper assignments at their desks. You will see hands-on active learning throughout every subject area because she knows that's the way her students learn and retain information best. Not to mention that she does all of this in 2 different languages. You would think this classroom would be a bit chaotic due to its type of learning style, but it's actually the opposite. What you witness instead is an organized, ecstatic learning taking place in the most structured environment possible. It took month after month of teaching and reteaching procedures and expectations. It took tears and many, "I'm not sure I can pull this off." It took heart and a willingness to never give up no matter how tiresome the tasks got. Her students say, "She never stops believing in us even when we drive her a little crazy, and she really makes us work hard no matter how tired we are." Her teammates say, "We really don't know if she's actually aware of how amazing she is, because she isn't the type to seek or even really like recognition. But our team wouldn't be complete without her." Every child deserves a champion, and we are not only overwhelmed with joy that her students get to have her as their champion, but we are just as lucky to have her as the champion of our campus. All that you do, do with your might. Things done by halves are never done right. This is our 2018-2019 Teacher of the Year's favorite quote. She not only teaches with all her might, but her mind, body, spirit, and most of all heart. Teacher is not just a hat she wears or a role she plays. She is a teacher in all aspects of her life. She leads and educates students, parents, and colleagues in a caring, consistent, and well-informed manner. When speaking of the relationships our Teacher of the Year has built with her students, one colleague said, "How many of us as parents or as teachers can consistently be consistent?" Imagine years of consistency and high expectations for some of our youngest and neediest students, many of whom have never experienced either of these qualities at home. Our Teacher of the Year has perfected the art of classroom management in order to set a firm foundation for students' educational careers. She has found a way to consistently, clearly define expectations while keeping an upbeat, happy classroom climate. Each day you will hear her and her students sing out, "Crisscross, applesauce, hands in lap, ginger snap, back is straight, chocolate shake, on my rear, root beer, lips are zipped, chocolate chip, shh." This listening position helps prepare the students to learn. They sit respectfully as their peers become the teacher and lead morning meetings. It is sometimes hard for teachers of younger students to effectively implement student-led learning. After flawless modeling and consistent reminders of expectations, this teacher is able to do it successfully. Our teacher has been heard to say, "We are in this together," and she makes sure that there is help when needed. One teacher said, "I will be using and learning from her wisdom until my last days of teaching." You often hear that it takes a village to raise a child. But to teach a child, it takes a well-oiled machine. A machine that never runs out of fuel and produces results without fail. Our nominee for Teacher of the Year is an effective, precise teaching machine that runs on compassion, professionalism, and mentoring. Compassion in its simplest form means to put others before yourself. For our nominee, that means just being herself. She often goes unnoticed as she leaves anonymous notes of encouragement for fellow staff members. She covers ARD meetings and prepares paperwork for colleagues out due to illness or maternity leave. Her students know that they have a champion in their corner, someone that will ensure their academic and emotional success. If they need lunch money, she pays it. If they need clothes or shoes, she finds it. If they need money for Camp Goddard, she donates it. She has even been caught attending mother-son events at school when a child does not have a family member that can attend. She communicates well with parents, and even when the news is difficult, she always finds something positive to share about their struggling child. She cares deeply for each soul that walks through her door, and they know it. They know she will find a way for them to succeed. They know she means business, and they will have to work hard, and they love her for it. No matter how long a person has been in this biz, having a teaching role model to look up to makes the hard days more bearable. Our nominee goes above and beyond to mentor staff members, novice or veteran. She helps with training on completing special education paperwork without compensation. She knows how to put differences aside to do what's best for kids. Helping others is in her nature. This nominee puts in long hours of care and concern for our students, staff, and school. Nobody walking the earth is perfect, and no one can solve every problem facing a struggling learner. However, this teacher strives to be a better educator than she was the day before and devotes all her energy into finding what works for kids, and that makes her pretty perfect to us. As a veteran teacher of 15 years in the Denison Independent School District, this teacher is the epitome of a master teacher. She is a native of Denison and embodies the 2018-2019 pop slogan of "We Are Denison." She is the wife of a firefighter and the mother of 3 young children. Along with serving her community through Gage's Pages and the Denison Service League, this teacher is dedicated to the art of teaching. Over the years, she has built hundreds of positive relationships with students and parents. Her lasting impressions with students are of love, care, and humility. The love this teacher gives her students is always evident when they are in her presence. Taylor, a current student, says it best. She always tells us we are her children. I love that because it makes me feel like she cares a lot. To say this teacher's heart is the size of Texas would be an understatement. The way she cares for her students is evident in her willingness to provide snacks, shoes, clothes, and hugs without giving a second thought. But the most valuable resource we all have is time, for it is the one expense we are unable to recoup. And this teacher gives an innumerable amount of her time to attending student events and supporting her kids. When asked, another student named Michael smiled and said, "When I look out in the crowd and see her cheering, it feels very encouraging." When it comes to working with her peers, if this teacher is present, there will always be laughter. She wears her heart on her sleeve and shares her passion with everyone. Her personality and smile are infectious. This teacher has a servant heart and is always filling the buckets of others. There are many who would be unable to give of themselves so graciously day in and day out. However, this teacher's faith keeps her strong. Of her many qualities, her love of the Lord is the one that shines brightest. Anyone who is privileged enough to work alongside her will benefit from His grace and mercy. There aren't enough positive words in the English language to describe this amazing teacher. As a teacher who has dedicated her life to working with students with special needs, she gives her time and energy daily to bring out the best in our campus. This teacher goes above and beyond in so many ways, not only on our campus, but in her personal life as well. As a mom, wife, friend, scout leader, teacher, mentor, and co-worker, this teacher excels at all she does. In her classroom, this teacher has a positive and bubbly attitude which brings light to the lives of every student she touches. Not only does she teach her students functional academics, but she does it in a way that is fun and engaging. This wonderful teacher goes above and beyond to make learning come alive in order to foster growth and success for our students with the most challenges. Don't be fooled though, this teacher is not just all fun and games. She also incorporates structure and the highest expectations into every day in the classroom, and her students meet those expectations with her boundless support and encouragement. As a special education teacher, her job requires many extra levels of time and dedication beyond the normal classroom role. She skillfully juggles ARD meetings, tracking student grades and goals, administering the STAR ALT test, Special Olympics scheduling. She also has taken on the responsibility of heading up our campus hospitality committee, creating and implementing our Friday Jacket Java program. The Jacket Java cart is a weekly coffee and treat cart which is pushed through the hallways each Friday morning by SLC students and staff. This is a program she and her SLC team came up with in order to bring a smile on Friday mornings to our staff, but also to provide a valuable learning opportunity for our SLC students. These are just a few things that this remarkable person does during her week and all year long. This teacher puts everyone else's issues in front of her own and never complains. She is a lady that is looked up to by many people of all different ages and backgrounds. If everyone in the country had her heart, there would be no problems. We thank God we have been blessed to know this lady. She is truly a blessing. One easy way to know this teacher is making an impact is simply to count the number of requests each year for students to be placed in her classroom. She is infamous for her antics on campus, the passion she has for her subject, and her absolute dedication to OU. On any given day in her classroom, you never know what you're going to walk in to find, but you know it will be educational and you know it will be engaging. This amazing teacher has her students put on period costumes and act out roles in colonial communities using M&Ms to represent wages. She has students bring in food items based on what would be available on their trade routes of the time, and then teaches and reviews while enjoying the spread. You might enter her room to find her with a bear skin thrown over her head, or dressed in colonial garb serving tea. It's also highly likely that you'll walk into her room and find it empty, because her students are outside panning for gold in the creek, in the hive having a tea party, in the auditorium listening to and learning about slave songs from a visiting expert, or outside terrorizing the neighborhood with Civil War reenactments, cannon booms and all. One guarantee, you will always find this teacher's students with smiles on their faces and learning taking place. This teacher not only excels at sharing her passion for history, she also shares her enthusiasm for our campus and our community by taking over leadership at Scott Scholars Honor Society, planning and facilitating campus fundraising activities, and making costumes for theater programs, heading up our yearly Veterans Day program, planning both 7th and 8th grade field trips, and planning our first ever combination science and history fair. This teacher has a heart for our campus and our community and is always willing to lend a hand any way she can. We could spend hours listing all the wonderful things our students have to say about this teacher. However, we'll end by saying this: SMS would not be the same without this teacher, and each day she is here enriches the lives of our students and staff. We are blessed to have her on our campus. In Matt Groening's science fiction cartoon Futurama, a character says, "When you do things right, people won't be sure you've done anything at all." This quote exemplifies the work of this teacher for Denison ISD. In his 20 years with Denison ISD, humbly and without fanfare, he has come in early and stayed late, working tirelessly on behalf of students. While taking on the expected duties of an inclusion teacher, the paperwork associated with ARDS, and the emotional support of students, he has also regularly made himself available to fill in wherever help might be needed. Without complaint, he will take on extra duties to help support the students. In fact, his compassion and reliability have made him the first one called upon by the administration in many instances. Besides his excellence with inclusion, this instructor has also made himself kind of a specialist in transitions. Each spring, he smooths the path to high school by working with parents and incoming freshmen through PEP conferences to ensure that they understand the class schedules, course credits, and endorsements. As the students advance in their studies, he also helps them transition into the workforce by facilitating vocational opportunities with various local businesses, matching the skills and interests of the student with the needs of the community. Although many would be quick to point out his particular talent for working with students on the autism spectrum, truthfully, this educator has a heart for all students. In inclusion classrooms, he will be seen with any student who might be struggling. Time and time again, he has proven himself facile enough to adapt to any manner of classroom environment. Having worked with him in a classroom setting, we know he is as quick to support his colleagues as he is to help the students. Because of his competence and unassuming nature, as the quote at the beginning indicates, people might not be certain of all that he does. When he sees a need, he simply meets it. This combination of devotion, competence, and humility is rare in any field. Denison ISD is blessed to have such a person working in so many key positions for our students. For all of these reasons, he deserves to be Teacher of the Year. It is with great pleasure that we are writing this letter to recommend this teacher for Secondary Teacher of the Year. This teacher has returned to Denison High School and has immersed herself back in the student body and the staff. Not only is she a mentor to new teachers, but she is a mentor to the girls at DHS. She is an advocate for all different levels of learning, from the AVID students to the AP students. She has taken on the leadership role of being the English department head. Her English gang describe her as passionate, powerful, and popping with purple. They say she always arrives before the sun comes up and makes her rounds, checking on them every morning with a smile. She is always quick to see how things are going, and if something isn't going right, she offers help when needed. She makes teaching and planning fun. She is the protective mama bear, and some in the gang even refer to her as G. With being a department head comes the duties of being a mentor to her new teachers. They have written that she works hard to ensure that we have the tools we need to succeed. It is not uncommon of her to randomly check to make sure we are set up for success. She offers lessons that are applicable in more places than the classroom. It is an honor to have her as our department head, and even more so that she is an impeccable role model for those around her. It is not just her department that loves her. It is other colleagues at DHS that she works with. One of her colleagues said, "There's no one like her. She is so supportive and caring and inspiring. She is one of the reasons I'm at Denison ISD now. She is a proud Yellow Jacket and so proud of our school and the community. She is very deserving of the title Teacher of the Year. She is a planner, organizer, thinker, and people leader of DHS. She strives to be the best teacher that she can possibly be, and that's why she should receive Secondary Teacher of the Year." Not many teachers can say that they discovered their passion for teaching because of a substitute teacher, but that is actually what happened to this Teacher of the Year nominee. As he was doing his required student observations in a math class that had a substitute teacher for a week, he discovered that the substitute teacher could not teach math at all. He asked if he could give it a try and soon realized that he could make the students understand the math concepts he was showing them. It was in that classroom encounter he fell in love with teaching. That was 13 years ago, and he's still as passionate about teaching as he was then. When students were asked what makes him a great teacher, the responses were, he strives to help everyone, and he is dedicated to his job, and he makes sure all of his students get individual help. He never gives up on his students and always encourages them to do their best. He has students work in small groups so no one is singled out if there is something they do not understand. His students work hard for him because they know he cares. Algebra is a difficult class for many students and especially hard for ELL students. His ability to communicate with them in their native language is an invaluable asset for them. He works with them to help them integrate into our campus. Most days after school, students come to his class for individual tutoring. He doesn't get paid for this. He does it because he truly cares. His colleagues say he is always pleasant, a great coworker, and a team member as well. When his students were asked, "How do you know he cares about you?" they replied with, "Because he never gives up on any of his students. He has faith and love for each one of us. And he helps me when I need it, even though I am no longer one of his students. When any of his students need to talk, he's there. And if the attitude of his students change, he checks in with them to see what's going on. At the end of each class period, when the bell rings, he always says, 'Love you, now get out.' Besides teaching math, he has a passion for cars, music, computer science, video games, and has a herd of fainting goats. I think we are lucky to have this teacher as part of the DISD family.